Welcome to the Erotic Realm podcast, where we explore the psychology of darker desires. I'm Em, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm a psychosexuality nerd with a background in psychology, sociology, medical science, and Tantra. I'm also in a 24/7 collared relationship, and I created this podcast with the mission of humanizing kinksters. Join me here for one-on-one, in-depth conversations as we explore the fascinating world of eroticism, one erotic realm at a time. If you love what we're doing here in the erotic realm, I'd like to ask you a quick favor. Can you follow and rate the show wherever you listen? It helps the show reach more people like you. And if you haven't yet, I'd love if you could subscribe to my Substack, Psychology of Desire. This is where I go even deeper into the science and symbolism of desire, archetypes, and erotic evolution. You'll get access to articles, unique surveys and research, and behind-the-scenes access to everything I'm building. Simply visit psychologyofdesire.substack.com. I'll see you there. And now, for today's episode. The following episode marks the beginning of Season 2 of the Erotic Realm. Welcome. And as we step into the new year, I wanted to begin this season differently. Not with theory, not with expertise, not with going deep into one person's erotic realm, but with intention. Because we make goals for almost every other part of our lives, our careers, our bodies, our finances, our relationships. But when it comes to our desire, especially erotic desire, we often leave it to chance. We wait for it to return. We hope it doesn't disappear. We assume it should just happen. So to open this season, I invited kinksters and erotic explorers to come onto the show and share something rarely spoken about: their New Year erotic and kink intentions, what they want to explore, what they want to deepen, and what they want to reclaim, confront, or finally give themselves permission to want. And this isn't a one-off. These guests will return at the end of the year so we can reflect on what shifted, what surprised them, and what actually happens when we treat desire as something we can listen to, tend to, and consciously engage with. Because desire isn't just impulse, it's not chaos, and it's not frivolous. Desire responds to attention, and attention, when given with curiosity rather than judgment, changes everything. And your desire deserves attention. Before we begin today's episode, I want to share something I've been quietly building in the background, something many of you have asked me for over the past year. I've just released the Desire Diary. Now, this isn't a planner. It's not a productivity journal, and it's not about forcing desire to behave. The Desire Diary is a working psychological tool designed to help you notice how your desire actually operates in your body, your fantasies, your relationships, and your inner world. Because one of the things that I've learned through my countless hours of studying desire and the hundreds of conversations that I've had is that most of us were never taught how to explore our desire. Only how to judge it, suppress it, or panic when it changes. This desire was created to slow that down. Inside, you'll find space for reflection, pattern spotting, and gentle inquiry, not prompts telling you what you should want, but questions that help you listen more closely to what's already there. It's a soft cover or hardcover, small run edition designed to be written in, lived with, and returned to. And it's available now via the link in the show notes. So if you're someone who listens to this podcast and thinks, yes, but what does this look like in my own desire? This diary is for you. And now, let's step into today's episode. Welcome back to Season 2 of the Erotic Realm. Enjoy. Welcome to the Erotic Realm Kink and Erotic Intentions New Year special. I have a new kinkster here ready to set their New Year intentions with us. So, can you please begin by telling us your name and age?
Yeah, I'm Josh and 43.
Cool. And now a little bit about perhaps your gender and your sexuality and kinky self.
Ah, this is the things that are still sort of all in process of being worked out.
Cool.
Um, I'm identify as a man. Sexuality is sort of hetero, flexible, curious, exploring,
Mm-hmm.
cautiously.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I feel like exploring kink is, for me at the moment, is more about exploring all of life as well.
Mm.
I've had huge upheaval in the last few years to the point where I look back and go, this all began with COVID in 2020. And I'm coming to the end of a period of real constant upheaval and time for some consolidation. And so my explorations in kink life are really explorations in all of life and figuring out what I'm going to do from this point going onwards.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so very much in an explorative phase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that this year gone has been quite explorative as well,
Mm-hmm.
but perhaps a little bit too impulsively and not understanding of consequences.
Mm.
And so I want to be more deliberate, more focused, more explore things in a planned way rather than, oh, that seems good. Let's just jump in and do that.
Okay. So that's my first question for you about your specific intentions for next year. What exactly are you wanting to explore? Is it just being more deliberate, or can you speak more to that idea?
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be a number of things there, right? Like in terms of actual kinks, naming them, like I'm into electroplay. And what I want to do there is for the last year, I've been building sort of that understanding and moving forward to how that integrates and how I do that with other people. But then that's just in one specific area. What I'm looking to do is find perhaps that more an overarching theme is sort of the exploration of those areas of sexuality and kink and how that relates back to the rest of life. So I'd almost call it like integration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that kind of leads into the next question, which is what part of yourself do you want to meet through this desire? Are you wanting to meet all of yourself, or are there certain parts that you're really focusing on, or is it all about the integration for you?
Well, I heard this question and my immediate thought was, well, that's one of the parts of psychotherapy is one approach is to do that integrated family systems model where you think of the different parts of you as different people,
Mm.
uh, and look at almost think of it like a family.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I've taken that concept which I used for therapy and trying to deal with the hurts from the past, but apply it to the present, as in there's part of me that wants this, there's part of me that wants that,
Mm-hmm.
and actually working out a path forward that integrates those rather than driving them apart. I would say the most disconnected parts of myself are sort of sexuality and the spiritual side, which relates much more back to religion, because I have a really fundamentalist religious background
Right.
that I sort of started escaping 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only just getting now to the point where I'm actively looking to get back into that, but in a way that is true to myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that sounds like you're in a really exciting place, and there's a lot to explore and look forward to over the next year. So I'm really excited for you. I'm curious to hear from you. What challenges or fears do you feel might happen throughout the year as you're pursuing this? What might get in the way?
Okay, so here's an answer to both that question and the previous one,
Mm.
which is that first off, I actually want to be able to direct my focus in a better way.
Mm-hmm.
So that is both a goal and a challenge. With the whole, do I do this, do I do that sort of thing. And there's problems that arise when you don't have focus, in that things do not get the attention they deserve and they sort of drop off. I've found, and that brings me to the real challenge and fear, that I don't want to hurt other people through this process.
Right.
I know I can forgive myself for when I hurt myself, but it's very, very difficult to do that when you hurt other people along the way. And that's been a bit of a lesson from this year too, that the caution and thoughtfulness is not just so that I don't get myself into trouble, but it's much more about, let's not cause havoc along the way and leave people who are hurting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so part of the issue is that exploration is inherently destabilizing. And I got this from Athos, who had the book that I've actually been going through, the Love is a Kink. And that reality that as you change and grow, that is going to be destabilizing. And just to do that in a way that is honest and kind, both to myself and to others.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really learning how to communicate your inner self with other people, which is amazing.
Exactly. Yes. And that has been one of the huge gains this year. And it's to the extent where I go, why did I ever do it another way? Why did I hold back? If I look back, my single biggest issue that has caused the most damage is not actually speaking up and making boundaries and then enforcing them. Because what happens in that situation is, if you don't make boundaries and enforce them, you end up making yourself small and just catering to the whims and doing that people-pleasing kind of approach until you can't take it anymore. And so that is a very deliberate goal, that if I feel uncomfortable, I really should be speaking up after reflection, of course, but speaking up and going, that's not where I want to be.
Okay, so we've spoken about what you're looking forward to pursuing next year. We've spoken about the challenges or fears. So say we're speaking again at the end of next year and I ask you how you went with these goals. How will you know how will you know when you've fulfilled these goals? What will that look like for you?
I have some that are concrete and some less so.
Mm-hmm.
I think the value of being able to apply hindsight is that seeing progress. So I think for me, that would mean I can look back over the year and go, yes, I've grown in this particular way, and I have done that without causing harm, which is, kindness is really a value I try to adhere to. And so how do I would be able to look back and go, I didn't really hurt anyone this year. And I have come to a place where I can see that I am making progress on issues. I can see that I have some goals that I've ticked off. I think for me, that means less conflict, less drama, which means dealing with things sooner. So it's working more on the things that I've already made progress on this year, but seeing how much further there is to go.
Okay, beautiful. So if you could name your 2026 erotic theme in one word, everything that you're wanting to explore, just to distill it down into one word, what would that be and why?
I had to think about this one. The first thing that came to mind was exploration, but I don't think that's quite right. I think I have done a lot of exploration, and I've found the areas that I want to work on, which are, in terms of kink itself, as I mentioned, the electroplay sort of angle. I've found out the type of people I want to be around. I've found out the things I want to pursue. So perhaps the word for me is foundation. So I'm looking at building a foundation that then can serve as the base for the rest of life. And whether and again, like that's not that foundation doesn't sound like a particularly erotic word, but as a found, but as I said, I'm trying to integrate
Mm-hmm.
all of the aspects of my life, and eroticism is definitely working out how that is actually my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing was, is I like foundation, foundation, foundation. Building analogies come to mind, but then I remembered I'm a sci-fi fan, and so I remembered Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. And the idea of the foundation there is, first off, it was this whole let's save the galaxy through technology and all this kind of stuff. But then behind it all, there's this second foundation, which is about doing it through the mind, being control of mind, of the social, of the psychological. And I went, well, if that isn't a great metaphor for how I see the first half of my life and the second one, well, I love it.
Mm.
That kind of going forward to me is about relationships and people and how I can be me while being true to all of that. Uh, yeah, so foundation.
Mm-hmm. We love a nerdy analogy on this podcast, so thank you for that.
Excellent, because that is definitely one of my things. I
Mm-hmm.
am 100% nerd.
Yep.
And discovering that actually not shying away from that actually means I end up surrounded by people who are like, oh, you bring out the nerdy side of me. I've hidden that away. And I'm like, that's right.
No, nerds are very welcome here.
Nerdy is so sexy. So
Yep, I
anyway.
agree. I agree. Well, I'm really excited for you about what this year is going to bring for you. And I want to thank you for being part of the very first edition of the Erotic Realm Kink and Erotic Intentions New Year special. And yeah, I look forward to having you back on the podcast at the end of the year to see what's happened for you.
I am very nervous and excited. So I hope you have a great new year too. And
Thank you.
let's go out there and have a good time.
Yes, let's. Thank you again. Welcome to the Erotic Realm Kink and Erotic Intentions New Year special. I have a new kinkster here ready to set their New Year intentions with us. Can you please begin by telling us your name and age?
I am Erotic Goddess and I am 50.
Oh, sorry. Of course, you've been on before. My apologies. Mm-hmm.
That's fine. If you're busy, it's fine.
Yes. I'd woke up late today and I did not sleep well. So my apologies, of course. I remember you now. Okay, so let's move on to a little bit about your sexuality and kinky self.
I'm female and I'm still exploring my kink. I like to top and I'm very sensual and I enjoy energetic play as well.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the kink and erotic intentions for next year. What are you wanting to explore in your erotic life in 2026 and why?
I want to own my desires more. I've done a lot of work to be able to speak to them and ask for what I want, but it's still, tricky. And I think there's still some darker desires that are waiting to come out. And the part of that too is I really like the erotic blueprint framework where there's different ways you express yourself sexually. And they are, for those who don't know, the energetic, sensual, sexual, kinky, and then shapeshifter, meaning people who like it all. And I'm definitely a shapeshifter. I like to play in a lot of different ways. And I like a lot of sensation. I like being with multiple people, and I would love to explore that more and embrace it.
Okay, sounds like a lot of fun ahead for you.
Mm.
So, what part or parts of yourself do you want to meet through exploring these desires?
I feel like I want to meet more of myself, and I want to have a deeper understanding of myself through understanding my desire. And I've
Mm-hmm.
already learned quite a bit by embracing it and um, learning how to experience more pleasure, but I want to go deeper.
Mm-hmm. So, what challenges or fears do you feel might get in the way of you going deeper into these desires?
Time is one,
Mm-hmm.
with having a full-time job and being a mom and all that stuff. So that's one thing. But I do a good job of carving out time. And otherwise, fears, um, being able to articulate what I want and talking through it is something I'm still learning how to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So being able to communicate clearly, or
Mhm.
are you worried about what other people think, or what part of that is challenging for you?
Good question. Somewhat what other people think, but I don't have to put everything on display. I can be a private person.
Mm.
I do like writing about my experiences, and there's that's one area that some of my desires are harder to express. Um, and then it's more articulating to the point where I will get what I want, not, yeah, being able to clearly articulate.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So let's say we're talking again at the end of next year and you've been able to explore your shapeshifter and your desires and you've fulfilled your goals. What would that look like for you? How will you know that you've met your goals that you're setting here?
I think I will feel very content and whole and, grateful for those experiences. Another intention that I didn't mention that I really hope to be able to reflect back on at the end of the year is I would like to um, teach classes to help people embrace their erotic energy in selves and amplify their pleasure. I've done a little bit of that, but I definitely want to do more. And I think that will be really fun to reflect on and see the changes in other people by sharing
Mm.
that knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Okay, so if you could name your 2026 erotic theme in one word, what would that word be and why?
Intentional. I would use the word intentional because I want to bring more intentionality to my play as well. Like, why do we do things? Why am I exploring this dynamic, whether it's power exchange or other things, and kind of talking about the deeper themes behind it and bringing that forward.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Is there anything else you wanted to share about your intentions for next year or what you're wanting to experience?
Yes, I want to go into topping a little bit more. I've done a little bit of that with some light impact, but I'd like to go a little deeper. I'm also super curious about fire and knife play. And one of the reasons I like topping is I used to teach yoga and do massage. And like when I see and feel someone go to subspace, it reminds me of the place that people go when I got them relaxed in other ways. So I'm
Mm.
super curious about that place people go in helping them get there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you have play partners that you're planning on doing that with, or is part of the goal setting finding these partners to experience this with?
I do have some play partners that I
Mm.
can experience this with.
Cool.
And I think that's part of being clear with my intentions is understanding how much they can engage in this, or if I do want to find other play partners too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you for being part of the very first edition of the Erotic Realm Kink and Erotic Intentions New Year special. I look forward to having you back on the podcast at the end of next year to see what's happened for you throughout the year and how you've gone with these goals.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you again. I have a new kinkster here ready to share their New Year intentions with us. Can you please begin by telling us your name and age?
Yes, I'm Princess Octopus and I am 34-year-old.
Cool. And now we'd love to hear a little bit about your gender and how you explain your sexuality and what labels you identify with in terms of your kinky self.
Um, so obviously I'm female. And as for sexuality, I probably say I'm kind of bi-curious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd go with bi-curious more than anything.
Okay. And what about your kinky self?
My kinky self, I used to be very, very much a switch. I could easily switch from sub to dom and that, but now I'm very much more sub.
Okay,
Which I think
cool.
that plays a part with my busy lifestyle, so it's nice just to be sub for once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. Okay, cool. So now let's move on to planning for next year and your kink and erotic
Yeah.
intentions. What are you longing to explore in your erotic or kink life in 2026 and why?
So I think more or less I'm probably gonna tie both my modeling in with my kink life here. Um, and probably just do a lot more kinky stuff than I have done so far because I've been pretty kind of like, I don't know what the word is, like mellow with it at the moment. I've not kind of explored a lot of my own kinks with it, and that'd be nice to do that. Sort of just opening up my world a bit more instead of saying, "Oh yeah, I'd like to explore this," and then not doing it. Whereas I'd rather be able to just go forth and do that, but while as sort of documenting it through my modeling.
So kinky modeling scenes.
Yeah, just more of it because I recently did the squashing and of a little bits and bobs and which was new to 2025. So it's sort of like now I think let's delve deeper and find my kinkier side more, me that I've kind of been holding back and hiding.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any particular kinks that you want to explore more than others?
I wouldn't say I have like a particular kink that I'd like to explore. I mean, like, unless it was like an alien being had come down and was the whole tentacle.
Mm.
But for real, then that'd be like amazing. Um, but other than that, I'm kind of like just go with the flow. Like I'm like, oh, I'm feeling this. Let's go for it. Let's find a photographer I know that I can trust to work with to bring this to life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So what part or parts of yourself would you like to meet through exploring these desires?
Ooh, that is a good question. Um, Probably just being more free in myself rather than like certain parts of me, like specific parts. It would definitely be like just opening that Pandora's box and being like, this is who I am. There's no holding back anymore.
Mm.
Probably I would like to delve a bit more into some more of my Dom side because she has been locked away for quite a few years. So it would be nice to get her a bit out a bit more
Mm-hmm.
because I do
Okay.
feel a bit bad for locking her away.
Oh, life ebbs and flows. We have different moments for different parts of ourselves, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what you'd like to explore. What challenges or fears do you feel might arise in pursuing this? What might get in the way?
Um, so definitely for me, it'd be like, so this comes down to obviously not all photographers are the same, but you do get some photographers and they do try to push past certain boundaries and where it
Mm.
becomes not professional. Whereas for me, it's modeling and that's it when I'm not taking anything extra on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And obviously, people think that I mean, like it could be like an implied scene, and people generally think that I'm doing more than that. I mean, like I might be doing more than that in 2026, but I have been accused of that before. Like, oh my gosh, she's actually doing this. And I'm like, oh no, in that picture I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also for me, with being a single mum of three as well, which not many people know in my fandom and stuff, that um childcare can get in the way and
Mm-hmm.
in school holidays and all that lot. So it's a little bit of mixture of everything, and it's just being careful who I work with and doing my modeling around my kids and that.
Mm-hmm. So we're calling in some good photographers that you gel well with.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. I do at one point, I would love to go to Canada and work with Benevolent Beast. I have talked to him a few times about it, but obviously
Mm.
it's getting over there.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That sounds amazing. Okay, so we've talked about what might get in the way. Let's talk about what fulfillment of these goals would look like. So, say it's the end of the year, we're chatting again, and you're telling me how well it's gone. How will you know that you've met these goals?
Um, I think getting published more again in magazines would be a good option. Working with higher up photographers, probably more paid work coming in, and I don't know, just being able to say, I've done this, I've accomplished this throughout the year, and this is where I am now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And if you could name your 2026 erotic theme in just one word, what would that word be and why?
Ooh, now you've got me thinking.
Hmm.
Um, Probably chaos.
Mm.
But that's only because it's probably going to look like chaos to everybody else. But in reality, for me, it's going to be like, I know what I'm doing. I've got this plan in my head, and that's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, cool. Well, I'm really excited for you, and thank you for being part of the very first edition of the Erotic Realm Kink and Erotic Intentions New Year's special. I look forward to having you back on the podcast at the end of next year to see what happened throughout the year for you.
Thank you for having me as well.
Thank you so much again. I have a new kinkster here ready to set their new intentions with us. It's actually a returning podcast guest. So can you let us know who you are, please?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell us your name and age?
Oh, yes. Lenny, and I'm age 78.
Okay, cool. And then just a little bit about your gender and your sexuality and kinky self.
Male. I am heterosexual or straight, and I am predominantly a sadist, but I do indulge in various other kinks and fetishes, not the least of which is psychology. I'm interested in spectrophilia, but I haven't yet had the opportunity to engage in it. But psychology is probably my main interest at the moment. And I also have a garlic fetish.
And can you describe what your main fetish is? Because a lot of people wouldn't have heard the term.
Psychology is the art of inducing orgasm on one's partner without any physical contact.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it can be done through words, power of suggestion. I use hyperimperia as a vehicle, or it can be used with energy movement, which some people call chakra energy play for reasons I don't understand, because chakra is a noun. It should be chakric energy play, I would assume. But I have induced orgasms both ways, more successfully through suggestion than through energy movement. And I enjoy it. I mean, it's very fulfilling for me. It's a challenge. And when I find the appropriate partner who is interested in it, it's great.
Wonderful. And if people want to listen to Lenny describe more about this fetish, I highly recommend listening to Lenny's episode, which was number 10, The Philosophy of Sadism, for a deeper look at that kink. But for now, we're doing your kink and erotic intentions for 2026. So let's talk about it. What are you longing to explore in your erotic or kink life next year, Lenny, and why?
Well, my erotic life has been on hold for a couple of years due to prostate cancer and then very severe reactions to radiation therapy.
Mm.
So I'm not even sure if I'll have an erotic 2026. I do, on the other hand, I'm feeling somewhat better, and I would like to resume play, obviously, either as a sadist or as a fetishist. And particularly with psychologny. So one or the other would be wonderful. I'd like to have some sort of a relationship. It could be a comet relationship, one of these things that comes and goes like a comet, though hopefully more frequently than once every 86 years, as Halley's Comet does. But no, I mean, it's perfectly fine. I have had relationships with people I saw only 3 or 4 times a year, and they were very meaningful. And I would certainly enjoy that, or I would welcome it if the opportunity arose. I'd welcome something much more regular if the opportunity arose. And again, I mean, I think at this point, for me, play would be accentuated and prioritized over kink, over sex, kink over sex. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the amazing things that kink offers, right? When we're not capable or able to explore ourselves in the traditional form of sex, there's so much more that kink has to offer.
Well, pure play under any circumstances need not involve sex.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I agree with you completely.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you're hoping to reclaim parts of your kinky self next year. What parts of yourself do you want to meet through this reclamation?
I believe that my sadistic impulses will be with me, as I stated on my profile, until I have shuffled off this mortal coil, as Shakespeare worded it so nicely for us. I would enjoy that, but I'd enjoy it as a vehicle, as a medium for expressing love. I mean, I'd like to have a real relationship where this is what we did to deepen the relationship, even as one might argue that sex is another medium through which one can express love. And that is one. And then I really want to do more work with the psychology. I'm always interested in exploring that further.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what challenges or fears do you feel might arise in pursuing these goals? What might get in the way?
I don't have any fear about it, but it is quite possible that due to the hormone blockers, my sexual apparatus may be somewhat dubious in terms of its functionality. I mean, if I don't have the capacity to engage sexually anymore with one particular organ, I mean, there are always others. One has fingers, one has tongue, and so on. I wouldn't say I'm afraid of it. I do recognize that as a possible impediment. And the other thing, of course, which is just reality speaking, is that so many women gasp at the thought of engaging with someone who is 78 years old. Arguably, I could say I look less than that, but I absolutely refuse to lie about my age. I mean, what's the next step? To put shoe polish on my gray beard and claim I'm 55 or something, which I could probably get away with, but that's just not who I am. And I'm going to try to be honest with people. I always do. And so I would like to engage again, but I do think that my age and my medical history, which I've made no effort to camouflage, may be working as impediments against me. And if that's the case, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say none of those challenges happen and you are able to fulfill your goals. What would it look like by the year's end if you were able to fulfill them? How will you know that you've met your erotic and kink goals for next year?
I think they would be defined by the nature of the relationship that I had. In other words, not simply someone I might meet at a munch who would say, "Oh, you're a top, I'm a bottom. Would you mind, getting to know me and, let's do a scene together?" That's not what I'm thinking. I'm really looking for a relationship. And if that happens, I shall be immensely fulfilled on a personal level, on a psychological level, on an emotional level. And that would be wonderful. If it does not happen, then to me, whether I actually seen or have sex, one way or the other, doesn't particularly matter because I think it will lack the depth and the meaning which I seek at this time in an interpersonal relationship,
Mm-hmm.
albeit one that need not be exclusive, certainly not for the other person. As I said, I mean, that's the beauty of the comet relationship. One may see someone as frequently or infrequently as both parties deem appropriate. And that would be wonderful for me also.
Mm-hmm. So how are you looking for these partners? Are you looking at munches, like you mentioned, online, a mixture?
I'm not really looking yet. I mean, it's something I've occasionally responded to posts that people have put up,
Mm-hmm.
and which is, after all, how I encountered you via cyberspace. We've certainly never met, and we're at opposite ends of the planet. But I consider you a friend. But
Mm-hmm.
no, but I don't really see myself right now searching actively. I mean, for one thing, I'm still teaching a couple of courses. I've got 3 part-time jobs. I'm really very busy, and my energy levels have been rather low. So perhaps starting next fall, when I'll be down to 1 course and I may be leaving one of the other jobs, I'll have a little bit more time, have a little bit more energy, and then I think at that point I would like to start meeting people either through small social gatherings at the homes of various people or at munches and things of that sort.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So you're still in touch with your local community by the sounds of it, or you can be
Oh,
easily?
yes. Oh, yes. I mean, cell phone still works even if one is quite ill.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that members of the kink community, friends I've made on FET, for example, have been among the most supportive people for me as I've been going through this radiation sickness, which is just a fluke. I mean, it's been an extremely bizarre and rather uncomfortable relationship, with a cycle of possible reactions that seem to come back. And, it was not anticipated, but about 2% of the people may respond in that manner, and I seem to be in that choice 2%.
Oh.
So, but yes, my friends in kink have been very supportive, and we message or text or call or email, and one or the other. We keep in touch.
Well, I'm really glad that you have that community. It makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to next year. If you could name your 2026 erotic theme in 1 word, what would it be and why?
1 word: recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Or return, either or.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
I mean,
Well,
at least give me credit. I didn't say resurrection. So, yeah.
well, thank you so much for being part of the very first edition of the Erotic Realm Kink and Erotic Intentions New Year special, Lenny. I really look forward to having you back at the end of next year to see what happened throughout the year for you.
That will be wonderful. Thank you. It is always a pleasure to chat with you. And by the way, if I can put in a little bit of a plug, your
Sure.
very recent guest who spoke about foot fetish
Mm-hmm.
was absolutely marvelous. I think it's episode number 50. And I just want to put in a little plug for that. I mean, as always, the hostess was great, but I found a very fascinating discussion, and I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed
Thank you.
several of them, but that one in particular.
Yes, that was number 49. That was actually a re-release. So he was on earlier in the year. But yeah, again, it was such an amazing experience listening to him dive deep into his fetish mind about the foot fetish. So I had to release it again now so the new listeners could capture it and listen like you did.
I must have missed it due to illness.
Probably,
as
yes.
I think you may remember, when you interviewed me, my speech was very sluggish, and at times I think I almost slurred words, but I was on various medications, which made things more difficult for me than I expected that they would.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, as I said, I caught it as number 49, and I just was really blown away. It was excellent.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the plug. And it was a pleasure chatting to you again, Lenny. I look forward to our next time.
We'll be in touch. Thank you so much, Em, as always. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for listening to The Erotic Realm. If this episode stirred something in you, please take a moment to follow the show, leave a rating, or write a review on wherever you're listening. It helps more people find the show and brings visibility to this deeper conversation about eroticism and self-understanding. I'd also like to invite you to dive deeper into the psychology of desire, including my writing, research, and upcoming courses over at psychologyofdesire.com. And if you want the full experience, join thousands of curious minds on my Substack at psychologyofdesire.substack.com. This is where I release the Psychology of Desire case files, behind-the-scenes thoughts, and intimate reflections every week, plus more. Until next time, stay curious, stay embodied, and keep exploring. Also, as always, stay perverted.